right, guys, welcome back to 91 North, 95 South. It is after the holidays now. We took a brief hiatus because I had COVID-19 and I was self-isolating. So we know we've been a little behind with our podcasts. We're going to be getting back into our groove now, hopefully recording once again twice a week. So this episode will be coming out on Wednesday, and then we'll have another episode out for you on Friday. We hope that you are all having a happy New Year so far. New Year's Eve was a couple days ago, so we hope you all made some resolutions. We got some resolutions for our teams.
I have a self-resolution.
What's your self-resolution, Max?
That I'm going to spend even more time on the podcast. That's my New Year's resolution.
Even more time!
Even more time, as I struggle to find the tea bag that I brought in this room with me. Oh, I found it.
I don't even know how that'll be possible.
Well, I'm going to make it possible. You know what I did the other day, Dan? I made a Twitch account for us. You know what Twitch is?
It's a streaming platform for video games and other things of that nature.
Yeah. So we're going to be streaming both games such as 2K, NHL, Madden, MLB The Show, as well as maybe some live episodes of the podcast. That sounds like it could be a fun time.
Oh yeah.
Answer some viewer questions. But yeah, that's one of the things you guys have to look forward to in the new year is Twitch and probably some gaming content from me and Dan, because when we're not talking sports, we're normally either playing Halo or playing sports games. So
playing something.
Playing something. So we just figured we're already giving you like 90% of our lives, you know, because as we've said before, this is pretty much all we talk about. So why not give you the other 10%? And then soon, we're just going to be vlogging from the second we wake up till the second we go to sleep.
Yeah, and why not just give you 100% of our lives?
Because that sounds like a normal thing.
I mean, pretty soon, you know, virtual.
No, sorry. What were you gonna say?
No. I could finish afterwards. What were you gonna say?
I love how we just got like partway through the intro and we're already brought us off track.
Well, off track is it depends on what side you're looking at it from.
True.
And I would say that since these are things that are going to be actually coming to our fans on Twitch.
That's true.
We're still on track.
That's true, yeah.
We're still on track. We're just trying to tell you guys about something that's we're going to be doing more of in the new year. Something
that's brewing.
So it is kind of on brand with the New Year's discussion.
True.
But I was just gonna say, like, you know, with the dawn of virtual reality and just you know, you can actually like go inside a game now and like feel like you're actually in it. I mean, before long, it'll be like you guys are living our lives for us. Like, you won't even have to listen to the podcast. You'll just be watching the games through our own eyes and playing games with us. So, or through our bodies.
Imagine how boring that game would be. You throw on the Oculus, you hop on 91 North, 95 South, and just sit there for hours and just do nothing. Like you just sit in a room for hours. Just play
The
video
91 North
games.
Simulator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Watch some sports, listen to some podcasts, and then that's pretty much your day. Boom, level 1 passed.
There's no levels in this game. It's just you kind of go through the same day every day. And then you record the podcast for us on Mondays or Tuesdays or whatever, whenever we get it done. And then you release it on Wednesday. And then you just repeat the same thing.
I love that. All right. What are we talking about today, Dan?
So of course. Well, first off, if this is your first time listening, it is the new year. Who knows? Maybe you resolve to listen to more podcasts.
This is Mika Zibanejad.
This is me. No, I'm just kidding. That's Robert Williams from the Boston Celtics. This is me. I'm Daniel Drainville. And over here is Max Dameza. And above him, you want to introduce that guy?
That's Mika. That's my dude.
Yep, Mika Zibanejad, who plays for the New York Rangers. And these are our guys.
Our friends.
And
we are
you guys are our friends too. So welcome if you're listening for the first time. That's who we are. Now we're going to get into the topics, tell you a little bit about what we got going on for this episode.
Hit him, Dan!
Woo! First off, we're going to be talking about a little bit of the news. Vancouver Canucks assistant equipment manager Brian Red Hamilton sought out a woman who saved his life with a message about a cancerous mole that was on the back of his neck. Crazy, crazy stuff. And then after that little newsy bit, we're going to get into some of our more usual talk about our teams. I'm going to be talking about the Boston Celtics and what has happened over the last 4 games or so. And that's when we last left off. And also a little bit about the New England Patriots, who played again on Sunday. Max is going to talk to you about the New York Rangers, of course, with our buddy Mika. And then the New York Knicks as well. And anything else your teams today? Yankees or?
Go Yankees. That's about it.
All right, that's about it.
The Giants scored a field goal.
They scored a field goal, right? That was it?
Yeah. So they played a full football game and scored a field goal. So I think you can figure out if they won or lost.
I had to look.
Yeah, they lost like 34-3 or something.
I had to look that up. God, it was against the Chicago Bears too.
Yeah. I didn't watch it, but I'll be with Sam, our Giants correspondent, later. So maybe check out the Twitter page, and maybe I'll tweet out some Sam takes for y'all.
I know I'll be following closely for those because I was curious about what Sam thought about this game. You know, when you lose 3-29 against the Chicago Bears, I mean, it just every week it gets lower and lower for the Giants, and
yeah, he's just got to be fed up with it at this point.
Yeah, it depressing. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, Poor guy. Please follow up on Twitter for those takes later on. One last thing, we're going to do some resolutions for our teams, as I briefly mentioned at the start of this episode. Meaning, well, this could be anything. What would we like to see from our teams in the new year? You know, what could they improve on? Resolutions are pretty broad. in terms of what people what people expect of themselves going into the new year. A lot of them are based around working out. Maybe our teams can work out more. Maybe they can get a little beefier. Maybe they could put a little muscle on. So yeah, we'll be coming to you with those resolutions too. So stick around for that. And without further ado, let's get into the news. So, Max, you sent me this article about the Vancouver Canucks assistant equipment manager, Brian Red Hamilton.
Yes, I put it in the group chat and it went unanswered.
Yes, I did read. It did go unanswered. Yes, that's my bad. I did read it, though. I did read it.
No, it's pretty crazy. So, I mean, you have it in front of you, but I read it a couple of days ago. But this guy, he's the assistant equipment manager, right, for the Canucks. Correct. So they were playing in Seattle.
On October 23rd.
Oh, okay. So this is from October. I didn't even realize that. But so this fan was banging on the glass, and I can only imagine as an assistant equipment manager on the opposing team, you probably don't want to look at that person banging on the glass, because that could easily turn out to be not a fun night for you. I'm sure. Just a lot of verbal harassment, I could imagine. But he turns, and this woman has a message on her phone that mole is cancer, and he had this mole on his neck that he hadn't even noticed himself. Goes to the doctor, gets checked out, turns out to be cancer, and there's a quote from the doctor in there that says, if he had waited 4 to 5 years, he wouldn't be around anymore. So this woman literally saved his life. He came out on social media through the Canucks, I believe, searching for her to just thank her, and I think they ended up finding her. But you could give us more on that, because that's the part I don't remember.
Yeah, so she wrote down that it was cancer. It ended up being a malignant melanoma. And so Hamilton, his name was Brian Red Hamilton, the equipment manager. He sent out he wrote a thank you to the woman who noticed it, and said, "The message you showed me on your cell phone will forever be etched into my brain and has made a true life-changing difference to me and my family. Your instincts were right, and that mole on the back of my neck was a malignant melanoma, and thanks to your persistence and the quick work of our doctors, it is now gone. We are looking for this incredible person, and we need you to share with your friends and families to help us find a real-life hero, so I can express my sincerest gratitude." That was from the tweet, which came from the Canucks account. And then the tweet got reposted across social media. And then a member of the Ladies of the Kraken Facebook group made a connection to someone that they knew. And they said, "Oh my gosh, this was my daughter. She just got accepted into multiple medical schools. We have season tickets behind the opposing team, and she noticed the mole on the back of his neck. So she typed a message into her phone and knocked on the glass window to get his attention. She finally got his attention, and he looked quickly and then nodded. We didn't think any more of it. This is absolutely amazing."
Wow, that's pretty cool. Throw that on the college resume.
Yep. And then eventually, this was before the game on Saturday night. They were able to meet up before that game. It was tweeted out by the Vancouver Canucks Twitter account. along with a quote from Brian Hamilton that said, "The reason for the letter, and in parentheses today, was that I really wanted her to know her persistence in everything she did to get my attention. She saved my life." And then there's a photo of the two of them on there.
Awesome.
And then she also said, "The fact that I got to look him in the eye and hear what happened from his perspective. Imagine how jarring that is for you to be at work and someone just kind of looks at you and say, 'Hey, maybe you go see a doctor.'
Yeah.
That's not what you want to hear. So the fact that I got to see him and talk to his family members that have been really impacted by him dodging a big bullet, that's so special."
Yeah, that's
Right.
awesome.
So that's awesome. It just worked, it worked out for everybody. And she got to see him before the game. And I think there's this is just a great story that has, we haven't been hearing the best stories from that coming out of the NHL
Yeah.
for a while. So it's good to hear something nice come out of this, and that a man's life was saved.
Yeah, exactly. Also, if you have season tickets behind the opposing team's bench, you're hard. I know you're trash talking every game.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That'd be so sick.
That's the trash talker's seat right there, behind the
Yes.
other team's bench.
Yes. That's
So
sick.
Yeah, so like she's talking mad like stuff over there.
Like she saved this dude's life, then proceeded to call the player in front of him a bender. Like,
what does a bender mean?
like his ankles, like he's got weak ankles, so his
Oh,
ankles
yeah.
are bending.
Yeah. Yeah, especially in hockey. Like she's chirping all game long. Chirps from the season ticket holders. Yeah, and they probably get used to her. Like,
They're like, oh, that's just Margaret.
Just turn around, Margaret. You like, yeah. That's so funny.
That's awesome, though. That's a nice story.
Yeah, I really enjoyed reading that story. It was really nice.
Yeah, I would recommend. Where's that article from? I would recommend people go read that.
Oh yeah, the article itself is from Kristen Shilton, an ESPN NHL reporter. So I read it on ESPN. But then I saw another article on CNN. So it's being reported at a couple places. You just look up.
Job.
I'm sorry?
But Kristen did a better job.
I really liked Kristen's because it really there's a lot of quotes from both of them in this article. So
go read Kristen's and then comment on everybody else's. You should just stop reporting because Kristen just owned your ass.
Kristen did. Kristen got the full quotes in this thing.
I mean, there we go.
Congratulations, Kristen. Did a great job. And so that is our news segment. Now we're gonna move into our recaps of the games that we saw in the past couple of days.
Wait, do some dancing. I'll make some music. Oh, we're talking C's. We're talking Knicks. We're talking Pats. And we're talking Rangers. We're talking New York sports and Boston sports.
Woo!
Yeah, that was sick, dude. That was some good music.
What a dance break. I'm sweating. Woo!
Dude, Mika, how do you feel about that?
Woo!
Mika doesn't really like to talk.
Thanks, Mika.
Thanks, Mika. Mika just scores.
Mika only knows score, and Mika only know play for Rangers.
It's like Boban.
Rob looks like Atlas holding up the entire world with his hands right now.
I mean, Rob pretty much is Atlas holding up Celtics fans' hope.
Very true. Very true.
Speaking of, you want to talk some C's? I don't know if that's where you were going, but
Yeah. Speaking of which, let's get into the C's coverage. So let me pull up the game schedule real quick. Because in my notes I have notes from the last 2 games, but I also have things to say about the last 4 games. So I watched all of those. So
I did not watch all of these last 4 games of the Knicks. I will be honest.
Of the Knicks, not
Yeah.
the Celtics.
Yeah, no, I didn't watch any of the Celtics. I've been busy. You know, it's been the holidays.
Yeah, it's a busy
I
time.
apologize. That's why
No.
I want to dedicate more time. You know, no more missing games.
Yeah, we are sorry. It was a busy time. So
And Dan had COVID, so that's
yeah, I did have
another
COVID.
reason why we didn't record.
I did feel pretty bad for on Christmas Day. That's when I actually took the test and found out that I had it. So like from Christmas Day to the Timberwolves game, and then the day after the Timberwolves game, I felt pretty bad if we put it in Celtics terms. So yeah, it was like hard to find the motive. Sorry, what?
I said, yeah, this guy had a rough time. You missed Christmas and New Year's.
Yeah, so I was at my girlfriend's for Christmas the night before, and they opened presents at midnight. And then I was going to go back home with her to visit my family, but since I had the positive diagnosis, I ended up not going. I still haven't gone home, but I will go visit them at some point because I have gifts for them. But yeah, let's get into the C's coverage anyway, because I was still watching the games.
Yeah, you didn't have much else to do.
No. We had, so I'm gonna start with the game against the Timberwolves on the 27th. That was 2 days after the Christmas game against the Bucks, which was, you know, a pretty crushing defeat, I would say. But I didn't watch that game. I didn't watch all of it, so I'm not going to cover that. This game against the Timberwolves was, I can't say it was more crushing because, like I said, I didn't watch the Bucks game, but I will say that it did hurt my soul in ways that the Celtics have done pretty often this season. But it was just bad. It was really bad. The Timberwolves were without practically their entire starting lineup. I think due to COVID, they were missing Karl Anthony Towns, D'Angelo Russell, Anthony Edwards. And so they had a starting lineup of all bench players. And even former Celtics player Greg Monroe got involved for the Timberwolves in this game on the 27th. And yeah, the fact that the Celtics could not come out of that game with a win when they had, I mean, objectively the best player on the court with Jaylen Brown was frightening. It was frightening. And I kind of thought that the Celtics season was over right then and there. You know, even without Jason Tatum, you know, you still have the talents of Robert Williams, the big man right here. you have Horford, you have, and like I said, Jaylen Brown.
And for those of you who didn't watch this game and who don't know, the Timberwolves had their entire starting five out.
Yeah, yeah,
Not three or four guys. They had every single one of their starting five out for this game.
yeah. There's some guys that I don't remember their names because I don't watch the Timberwolves, but I'm just saying the big names like Cat and Anthony Edwards, but it was the entire starting lineup that didn't play. And so even like past those, like Cat's a superstar, so obviously I know him, but even like their regular starting guys were out. Which the best player they had, I think, was Malik Beasley.
Yeah, I was just going to say Malik Beasley, yeah.
And he took 18 shots in this game and only hit 6. So, I mean, he only scored 15 points in this game. The rest of the scoring, you're relying on your bench players, and the Celtics couldn't shut him down. So, I'm looking at this game afterwards, and I'm like, man, like we're like this. I'm watching a bunch of scrubs on our side because we can't even put down like the Timberwolves that are. It's probably the most hurt squad I've ever seen go on to play a game.
Yeah, they had like Greg Monroe posting and toasting. It was ridiculous.
Greg Monroe, Celtics legend from back in the day. He played back for a lot of teams, but
1965.
31 years old. I hadn't heard Greg Monroe's name in a long time. I don't know where he disappeared to, but he was actually playing pretty good in this game. And certainly he was diming the ball a lot. He had finished the game with 6 assists. And I was surprised at his level of play and some of the other Timberwolves guys, because it seemed like they were really like fighting for a place in the starting lineup too. A lot of them, like this guy Nathan Knight, who I thought played really well in this game, probably deserves a starting role going forward because he was electric and the Celtics could not get a beat on him. Otherwise, I liked the level of play that I saw from Romeo Lankford, as I think has like that has emerged as a theme over these past 4 games without Jason Tatum in the lineup. He's been getting a lot more minutes. He played 36 minutes in this game against the Timberwolves, and I like his hustle. I like how he's getting, he's a good defensive player, but in the limited scoring opportunities that he's been given, he's been able to shine a little bit too. But primarily, I have liked what I've seen from him on the defensive side of things. In this game, he finished with 4 steals and 3 blocks, which is, for a shooting guard is pretty incredible, to have 3 blocks in this game. That's about all I'll say for that one. So I'm gonna move on to the next game really quick now. So after we played the Timberwolves, we played the Clippers. And boy, do I have a lot to say about this game too, because if you were following what I was doing on our Twitter, you will know that I was sort of live tweeting this game. I was trying to focus a little bit more on actually watching the game, because I was invested in it. But afterwards, like once the game was over, I kind of just launched a tirade on Twitter because this was
funny. You should definitely check out those tweets. They had me laughing.
I think one of them I said
I'll pull them up while you talk about your tirade.
Thank you.
I'll get some together.
Thank you, because this was, I mean, I said that the Timberwolves game I felt like I knew that the Celtics season was over. This game put us like 6 feet below 6 feet underground. It was like I dead and bury the Celtics, dead and bury them, because I could not believe what I was watching. You had Marcus Morris blowing up against the Celtics, which, I mean, like, you can take any player, I guess, and just throw them against the Celtics squad and watch them blow up. Like, who are we letting, like, destroy us? Like I was talking about last game, Greg Monroe and Nathan Knight. Who are these guys? We got a team of, at least we got some of our starters in the lineup, and we can't keep Marcus Morris from driving the dagger into us. Well, what's going on? And we probably wouldn't have lost this game. Actually, we definitely wouldn't have lost this game if it wasn't for the atrocious 3-point shooting, which was the story from this night. Like, this game against the Clippers, if you ever want to watch, like, a team implode, like, this is
Are you seeing my screen?
yeah. As Max pulls up the tweets I made right here. Yeah, so I said must have been Shaq and Joakim Noah that taught this team how to shoot threes.
Yeah, please continue. I just thought this would be a good time for me to start sharing my screen.
Yeah, so we shot 95, or sorry, not 95, 9.5% from 3-point land. And I think how many threes was
4 for 42.
4 for 42 from the
right here.
42 threes is already a lot of threes to be taking. But when you only make 4 of them, that's an insane amount of threes to be taking. And it just wasn't there. It wasn't there. And the Celtics knew that. And, regression to the mean is a thing. Like, you should be able, by the law of averages, to, if you start shooting a game poorly, to kind of balance it out. That was nowhere to be seen. You would think that maybe the Celtics would kind of dial it down on the threes in the second half, but no. I get the mentality that you should probably, if you're Jaylen Brown, you want to have a kind of a short shooter's mentality is to keep on shooting, right? And so you should try to keep going with that. But man, sooner or later, you just got to realize that you could beat this weak Clippers team by just driving inside to the basket, and could have come out with a win in this game. And so it was incredibly frustrating to watch the Celtics over and over again brick threes, and it just never got better. I think this was one of the worst games that I've ever watched as a Celtics fan. I was absolutely disgusted with this team in this moment. And you go down the list, and Jaylen Brown shoots 1 for 13 from 3. That's 12 misses from 3. Al Horford shoots 0 for 7. Peyton Pritchard 0 for 5. The only one who shot well from 3 was Grant Williams, who is a freaking monster from 3 all of a sudden this season. And his New Year's resolution obviously is to keep being, the greatest shooter the Celtics have. He made up 2 of the 4 threes for the Celtics this night on only 3 shots.
That's insane.
Incredibly bad. And now I just look at it, I look back on it, and I just laugh, because it's like, what else are you gonna do? Like, the shots just weren't falling. I mean, you have guys that should be capable of making them, and they just weren't. So yeah, now I just look back on it and I just laugh. But it is quite depressing, and I was quite depressed at the time.
Yeah, I could not imagine having to watch that game as a Celtics fan. That's just brutal. Because, like, if you're shooting 4 for 42, you got to think that, okay, maybe you get to 4 for 20 and you're like, okay, these are just not falling. Let's maybe cool it
Switch
on
up
the
the game.
threes. Yeah. But no, they just wasted essentially 20 possessions. Like, that's ridiculous.
Absolutely. Like I said, this was a winnable game, and to watch them just piss it away because you can't hit any threes, like literally any.
And you keep taking them. It's not even that they were missing them. It's that they kept taking them.
Yep.
Like, just it's literally insane because
incredibly frustrating
they
as a
thought
fan.
the outcome was going to be different, and they just kept doing the same thing.
Yeah, it's like Voss from Far Cry 3. He's like, what the definition of insanity?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. Well, before we get off this game, do you want to run through?
I'm just mad thinking about this game. Even thinking about.
Okay. Well, while you're mad, I'll read these for you. Blow it up. Sell the whole team. I don't care anymore. I just want to root for something that's fun and doesn't break my heart every single night. I feel like I need to shower. That Celtics game left me absolutely disgusted. This one just speaks for itself.
I will not explain this tweet. I will not explain this tweet. I think it's better if I don't explain it.
It's so much better. But yeah. So we probably didn't even need to run through that game. Probably could have just had those tweets.
Yeah. It's basically, yeah. Everything that I've said is chronicled on our Twitter.
It's literally like those are like the thesis points, and you were just giving some explanation to them.
What the hell, man? God.
Yo, I'm so mad.
I know we're trying not to swear on this.
Oh, you're good. Hell's not that bad. But I'm so mad we lost that. We tried to record an episode over Zoom like a couple weeks ago. But then we lost it because Zoom messed up. But I got pissed off about NHL 22 ratings and how Adam Fox is.
I'm so upset we lost that.
And that is the equivalent to how Dan feels right now, I feel like.
Yeah.
Dan doesn't get heated like this.
How can you not get heated?
How can you not get heated
if you're a fan of a team?
I'm not blaming you.
What if the Knicks did this?
Oh, I would lose my mind. Dude, I wouldn't even watch that game. I would lose my mind.
It's like you can't even put away the Clippers. The Clippers. They don't even have Paul George on the team.
I was going to say the Paul George-less Clippers.
It's freaking Marcus Morris.
Yeah, I said before the game to Dan that Marcus Morris was going to have 25, and he got 23. So, I just know the Celtics team,
You just know, yeah, you know our flaws. You know our flaws. We're about to make Marcus Morris the GOAT of the Clippers team. And also, yeah, so it's just Marcus Morris and then
Terrence Mann.
Terrence Mann, who also I don't know how many points he finished with, but it seemed like he was killing us a little bit.
That's so funny. All right, you want to move to the next games? Like,
yeah, let's get to the next two. These ones, I actually have some notes for. I was just going off the dome for those other ones. So let me pull these up. So yeah, we got the Celtics and the Suns. That game happened on the 31st, New Year's Eve. So, final score for this game was I don't know why I didn't put the final score in the notes. I'm so sorry. 123 to 108. So this was a get right game. We had the two games that were so bad and just made me want to curl up in my bed against the first two games that I just talked about. And then we're playing the Suns. I'm going into this game. I'm thinking, we're about to get absolutely destroyed. Like, is there any scenario that we're not about to get destroyed in this game?
I would have bet a lot of money on the Suns.
Me too. And so I'm glad that I wasn't betting on this game. But it's like, that's exactly what the Celtics do, right? It's like you never know what the hell is going to happen. That's the magic of watching this team. That's the magic of Lucky the Leprechaun down there on the court. That's the magic of that logo, right? The Leprechaun. He's bringing us that magic touch. We never know what's going to happen. Remember, I said earlier this season that the team is consistently inconsistent.
Yes.
And this just goes to show exactly that. Granted, the Suns are without DeAndre Ayton and JaVale McGee, which, bless you, by the way.
Thank you.
Which I understand is that's a pretty sizable handicap, especially when you've got centers like Al Horford and my man right here, Rob Williams, who, they're great centers. I think two of the best pieces of our team, but, by bigger centers like DeAndre Ayton and JaVale McGee might be prone to get bullied a little bit, pushed around a little bit. And so certainly to have DeAndre Ayton missing from this matchup was a tremendous help to the Celtics. Now.
But they still had CP3 and Devin Booker.
Yes, they did. And Mikal Bridges and, Cameron Johnson was huge in this game. And I think he's a pretty good player. Good shooter, definitely.
Yeah, he's really good.
First off, I don't know where to begin, but I need to bring attention to something that me and Max have been talking about for a long time.
Me?
This was something that was dreamt up when we started playing 2K together.
No way. No way.
And that is point guard Rob.
Did they
point
do
guard
it?
Rob right here.
They didn't do it.
They did not enact point guard Rob, in the sense that we believed, right? They did not put him at the one. But in this game,
point forward Rob?
No, not even point forward Rob. Still center Rob. But in this game, he might as well have been a point guard the way he was diming. Rob Williams finished. Let me hit you with this stat line.
Let's go.
5 for 5 from the field.
Let's go.
With 10 points, 11 rebounds, 10 assists.
Let's go.
2 steals.
Go. We were on this. We've been on this. Dan, how many triple doubles did you get with Robert Williams?
This has been a long time coming, folks. This has been a long time coming.
That's literally his 2K line every time.
I would get a triple double with Rob every game. So we would play franchise mode. Franchise mode?
Yeah, I did a little fantasy
draft. I can't remember. Did we draft Rob Williams or did we trade for him?
I can't remember. We got him on the squad somehow.
We got him on the squad. Every game, I would play with Rob Williams, but slot him in at the one. And just monster. I would abuse the other team with a combination of assists and blocks. And man, was that a fun
I
time.
love that.
I think they're finally unlocking his potential.
Finally, dude.
Finally. That's why I have our friend up in the background today.
I love that.
Because
I'm
this
so
is
happy.
This is a special moment.
Yes. That makes me so happy.
I was so excited to tell you about that.
That's awesome.
Tell all the fans. Man.
That's awesome. Yeah, fans, track that. Keep that in mind.
Keep that in mind. When you watch this man, when you watch Celtics basketball, when you watch how his career plays out, just keep in mind what I told you and what we did in 2K.
When this guy turns out to be the greatest point guard of all time, just remember that we told you.
It started with this night, New Year's Eve, 10 assists.
That's so awesome.
Go back and watch the game.
I kind of want
the dimes.
to now. I kind of want to.
You have to watch this.
I think I might hit the highlights at least.
Oh, yeah. Watch the highlights.
I got to
Guys,
show some love to our man.
Yeah, I should have put out a tweet about this because point guard Rob is just, man.
He's waiting to be unlocked. He's just
did my heart good.
There. He's just waiting. Every game, he's like, Coach, put me at the 1. It's like, not yet, Rob. There's our dude. Wow, that's awesome. So,
yeah.
So would you say Rob was the key to this victory?
I thought that he was one of the keys to the victory. I've got about 3 keys to victory. But number 1 is Rob.
That's a crazy house, dude. You got 3 different keys?
Oh, yeah. 3 different locks. 1 locks on the front door, 1 locks on the back door, 1 locks on the bathroom door. 3 keys.
You know where Booba is.
Boobut's the front door, of course. You thinking bathroom.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He was a monster in this game. The passing, like I said, was very impressive. There was 1 pass that was especially beautiful to me where I saw Rob in the corner and he kind of motioned Romeo Lankford toward the basket, using some of that point guard awareness. It was like, get over here, and then passes it over his defender, hits Romeo in stride for the layup. It's like, man, this guy, he has the point guard vision. Awareness.
I love it.
He's like an even taller Magic Johnson. And that doesn't come lightly. So I think he was, like I said, his passing in this game was great. Second chance opportunities for the Celtics. Williams has been great with these 2. Getting a putback dunk or a rebound and then a quick layup to score. I don't have any stats for those in front of me, but second chance points with Robert Williams are a big key to success, it seems, in Celtics victories. Romeo Lankford in this game, like I mentioned in the previous games, being big in Jason Tatum's absence. I think, in this game, he also showed that he deserves more playing time. Let's see, if I can get his stats up in front of me because I didn't include them in my notes for some reason, but he in this game was 6 for 10 from the floor and finished with 16 points, another 2 steals, and so like I said, he was bringing some of the scoring in this game, in addition to some of that defensive presence that we have so desperately needed, and also Marcus Smart back in the lineup for this game. delivering 24 points, was great. 10 for 18 from the floor, a really efficient night for him. And that's really good when you can get an efficient night from Smart. Grant Williams impressed me with his toughness in this game. He was able to get inside and battle out some guys for tough layups in the paint, which I have really been impressed with how he's developed as a player. And in this game in particular, I mean, showcasing we now know about the shooting percentages. He's great from three, but also showing how he can do it inside too, and against some bigger guys, put up some tough shots and get those to fall down. So Grant Williams was great in this game. Paint scoring as a whole in this game was 64 for the Celtics, and then against the Suns 46. So that was a big story here. Now, in terms of game script, the Suns, I feel like, had the chance to get back in this game really in the third quarter and cut down that deficit, but the Celtics actually continued to balloon that deficit to 23 by the end of the third quarter. And as a result, I feel like the Suns never really had a chance in this game. So yeah, that's how that one went. It's just it's nuts to me how you can lose in such a demeaning and whatever you want to call it, depressing fashion against the Clippers, and then come back and beat the Suns like this. It just goes to show how unpredictable this Celtics team is.
Yeah, it's
really. I don't even know what to say anymore. But I mentioned resolutions for the Celtics too. And in terms of a resolution for this team, we had this game against the Suns come on New Year's Eve. And then we had a Celtics Magic game that was last night. Would be January 2nd at the time. So last night, January 2nd. And Brown led the Celtics to victory in that game. He had a really efficient shooting night. He hit 50 points, and once he did, he kind of transitioned more into a playmaker and was trying to set up the other Celtics for some plays, which I was impressed with his ability to make plays at that point in the game. It seemed like, they were kind of keyed in on him. This was toward the end of the game. In the end of the fourth quarter and into overtime, he was trying to kind of make more plays for the Celtics, and it was working. And I think that was one of the keys to winning that game against the Magic. What I was upset by in that game was 22 turnovers for the Celtics.
Wow.
22 is a lot of turnovers in any game. And certainly for a game like this, they were lucky to escape with a victory because the Magic are not a great team. They're not one of the top teams in the NBA. So if it was a greater team that they had faced in this scenario and turning the ball over 22 times, I don't think they would have come back in this game. Even then, it was the Magic were up 96 to. Sorry, zoom in on this.
No, you're good.
Magic were up 96 to 82 with 4 minutes and 20 seconds left to go in the game. Udoka called a timeout, and Boston proceeded to go on a 18-4 run over the remaining 4 minutes and 20 seconds. And during that stretch, Jaylen Brown went 6 for 7 from the floor and scored 14 points. So that's a very efficient end to the game for him. But like I said, the Celtics were, they ended up winning this game against a bad team that let them back in. But against a better team, this would have been probably a loss. So there you have it. Where does that leave us? Over these past 4
Confused.
games. A little confused. We're trying to make a resolution here. So you have a tough loss to the Bucks on Christmas. Then you have lost to who was it?
Paul Georgeless Clippers.
No, there was one in between there.
Timberwolves.
The Timberwolves, yeah. So
Then
you have the loss to the Bucks, the Timberwolves without their starting lineup. Then you have the Clippers game where you shoot about 10% from 3
Under 10%.
and lose to the Paul George's Clippers. Then you have the game against the Suns where you beat one of the top 2 teams in the Western Conference. And then you finish it off with a win against the Magic by 5 points, or 5 or 6 points in overtime. It's certainly a confusing slate of games. It's a good start to the new year, right? We're going into it with 2 wins, still without Jason Tatum, and I am impressed with the level of play that I've seen from some individual players, including Lankford and Williams, both Williams, Grant and Rob. And Jaylen Brown has been inconsistent, but I was impressed with his play in the game against the Magic. Now, one thing that I've noticed without Tatum in the lineup is that the Celtics are seeming to move the ball a little bit better. He's not there to stop the ball and take, ISO dribbles and try to get the shot himself, which I like. And I think it is a recipe for success going forward. I think with Tatum back in the lineup, that's what needs to remain from this stretch of games without him, is that, you need that ball movement, obviously.
So would you say that Jason Tatum is holding the Celtics offense back?
I wouldn't say he's holding them back, no, because I think if Jason Tatum is there in that Clippers game, I think you win that game. And I think that, so you can't say that, or at least I can't say that with certainty.
I could say that because I don't care.
Yeah, you could say that. You could say that. Do you want to say that?
No.
Yeah, I'm not saying that.
Physically say that.
Yeah, you could say that, but knowing having studied this team this season, I think that it's not that they're a worse, necessarily a worse team with Tatum back in the lineup. I think they're still an inconsistent team. But I think that one of the takeaways from this stretch without him is that the Celtics role players and bench players, specific ones certainly can be relied on and should be relied on more, even with Tatum back in the lineup. And I think that, once again, the ball has to be moved around, which it's simple to say, but the Celtics still are having trouble with that.
Right.
And so that's basically where we're left is I think that it's still like a wildly inconsistent team, but I think that once Tatum gets back and you start spreading the ball like this, Brown is finally back too, and we've seen how dominant he can be in some of these scenarios. So I think that, I think you spread the ball around and it'll ultimately help win games. Like the Suns game should be the blueprint, and that's all I have to say. So resolution, spread the ball around more.
Word. All right.
That concludes the Celtics coverage. I know that was a long time.
It's okay. What are we talking about now?
Now, do you want to talk about the Knicks?
Sure. Well, we could just do uh we could talk the Pats and then talk the New York sports separate if you want.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Yeah, so the Pats played the Jaguars. All right. Well, let me do that over again. Cuz this is a segment. This is now a segment on the Pats, right?
Patriots.
I
We
feel
live
like
in
I should switch up my background. All right. Welcome back. We have the new background up. This is for this segment on the Pats. This is our Lord and Savior, Mac Jones, right here. He's the one that is going to ultimately bring us out of the dark times and back to the Super Bowl. So, without further ado, let's talk about the Pats. What did I see in this game against the Jaguars? All right. Let's start with the Pats beat the Jaguars 50-10, right? 50-10. So it was an absolute smackdown. Things that I was impressed with. The running backs once again looked great. Damian Harris, Ramondre Stevenson both scored 2 touchdowns in this game, and they ran all over a weak Jaguars run defense. Something that I was intrigued by was the inclusion of Christian Wilkerson in this game. I think that this probably spells some kind of like
It smells.
it spells like the end of the N'Keal Harry era probably. N'Keal Harry was a receiver who we drafted in the first round of the NFL draft, something which Bill Belichick usually does not do. But he took a shot in, I want to say it was 2018, 2017, somewhere around there. And he has not developed into a great wide receiver. He has shown flashes of greatness, but usually each time that he does, it is followed up with something that is equally as bad, for lack of a better word. So he's pretty inconsistent. Christian Wilkerson, a name that I have not heard, I've barely heard, if at all, before the game with the Jaguars, was a receiver that I guess was on the practice squad, and he just moved up. And this game on Sunday against the Jaguars was the first time he's been featured heavily by the offense. He had 4 catches for 42 yards and 2 touchdowns on Sunday, and one of them was wide open. So red zone specialist, perhaps. I'm not sure how he got so open on that touchdown play. It was the first one, but I'm guessing it was because of good route running or poor defense on the part of the Jaguars. Either way, I mean, he was
both.
Could be both. He was really a force on Sunday, and I was impressed with his level of play. So I think he may have earned himself a spot in the with the starters. Christian Wilkerson, remember that name going forward.
I'll try.
Mac Jones looked poised in the pocket. I liked how he was playing in this game.
Look at that guy. He screams poise.
Poised in the pocket. The pocket right here.
Shout out to John Madden. Yeah, so if you see right here, that's his nipple.
Oh yeah, rest in peace, John Madden.
Yeah, rest in peace.
Oh, right here, here's a guy who right here you can see that he's moving between the tackles. And up right there, he gets a hole. Boom, hits the hole. Then goes over. Sorry, that was a terrible impression, but that I feel like we had to do something special for the man.
Something special. Yeah, that is something special for him, all right.
Yeah, rest in peace. Great commentator, legend, and pioneer of the video game franchise,
And a coach.
Madden.
Can't forget that.
And coach, yeah.
The Raiders,
He will
I
be
think.
surely missed by the football world.
Yes.
So back to this game. I mean, we have this stud right here who was dropping back in the pocket, and he finished the game with 22 for 30. Finished it on 22 for 30 passing, 227 yards, and 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. So by all accounts, a pretty solid game. Afterwards, Bill Belichick said, Mac is super consistent. Every day is really the same day for Mac. Really the same day. We can relate.
Bill Murray in Groundhog Day.
Maybe once the Mac Jones simulator comes out, we'll be able to experience it like our listeners will with our show.
Yes.
He's always well prepared. He's in early. He's ready to go. He knows what we're going to be doing, and he's already got a head start on it. He maximizes the information that the coaches give him, maximizes the walkthroughs. So, this is a lot of coaching stuff that we usually hear about guys that coaches like, first in, first out kind of stuff. Real lunch pail guy. But yeah, he this is great praise to see him getting from Coach Belichick, especially if you're a Pats fan. You have to be impressed with a first-year quarterback getting this kind of praise out of such a usually stone cold and dour man. It's a good positive sign. And in this game, he lit it up across the field, which I would expect should be the case against this Jaguars team, but it's good to see it in actuality versus a team like the Celtics where, you expect them to beat a bad team, but that's not necessarily always the case. With the Patriots, at least you can count on that, right? So that's something good to take away from this. The defense got back on its feet in this game. We had bad showings against the Bills in the last game and the Colts before that. 3 interceptions from Trevor Lawrence, and J.C. Jackson caught one of those, and it is actually his 8th interception of this season.
Wow.
He is tied for the record, which is 25 for most interceptions by a player in their first 4 seasons in history, with Lester Hayes and Everson Walls, which is pretty incredible.
Yeah, that's wild. Wow.
Yeah, he is. He was originally a nickel cornerback and then moved to cornerback 2, playing alongside Stephon Gilmore, and now has definitely solidified himself in the top cornerback role for the defense. Something that I was not impressed with. So obviously, I mentioned N'Keal Harry. How I think he's probably going to get burned from this whole emergence of Christian Wilkerson thing. Other than that, cornerback Miles Bryant got burned by Laquan Treadwell in the first quarter and let up a 40-yard reception. Trevor Lawrence hooking up with Laquan Treadwell. And it was just he was in front of it. He should have easily taken that away. So I was a little stunned by that. But other than that, nothing too bad about this game. I mean, they won 50-10. So you did what you should have. You did what you should have.
For sure. That's a good win though, 50-10.
Yeah. And it's what I wanted to see after the last two losses. The Raiders ended up beating the Colts on Sunday, so I'm not entirely sure how that factors in the playoff seeding, but I think they were tied record wise with the Patriots in the AFC. So
who was
the Colts?
the Colts? And what's the playoff picture looking like right now?
Let me.
If the season ended today, who's in, who's out?
I can pull that up for you. So
yeah, because I don't know anything. I'm still mad I lost in our fantasy football league.
Yeah, you lost to Aiden.
I lost to Joe Burrow.
Yep, he does not set his lineup.
Yep. Joe Burrow dropping 60 right on my face. Not fun.
Yeah, he did it again. He did it to me too.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, all right, I have it up. So right now in the AFC, the first seed is the Tennessee Titans at 11-5. And then you would have 3 wild card games. So the Tennessee Titans would – I'm sorry, let me back up. The Tennessee Titans would be given a first-round bye. If the playoff picture ended today, they would be given a first-round bye and not have to face a team in the first week of the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And then you would have 3 wild card games. It would be the LA Chargers against the Chiefs, the Indianapolis Colts against the Cincinnati Bengals, and then the New England Patriots against the Buffalo Bills.
Wow.
And then the winners of those would go on into the playoffs, and one of them would face the Titans, and the other 2 would face off against each other.
Wow, the AFC is pretty good, huh? Bills and Pats, both wild card teams.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, even the 7th seed, which is the Chargers, are a pretty solid team. So,
wow,
I think the AFC is pretty good this year.
How do you think the Pats would fare against the Bills?
Woo! You know, I think honestly, if they face them again, it's showing that it would be in Buffalo right now, which is where they beat them the first time. The Patriots are actually playing better in away games than they are at home right now.
Interesting.
Which is an interesting statistic. But even outside of that fact, I think that if this game were to happen right now, I feel like the Patriots could take a victory because they're probably upset from that last game against Buffalo, realize what things they could have done a lot better. And I think part of me says that they actually needed it in, feeling like they were on a long winning streak and kind of
a reality check.
Yeah, exactly. Bring them back down to earth a little bit. As weird as that sounds, but I believe that. I believe they could win against the Bills right now.
Yeah, I agree.
All
you
right.
want to talk about Antonio Brown?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Sorry.
Else you want to talk about Pats?
No, I'm all set on the Pats right now. Wait, who you got in the background there?
IQ wearing a Rangers jersey.
That's an awesome photo.
Yeah, I looked up Knicks and Rangers, and this popped up. It's like, yes, please.
Yeah, that's an awesome picture. So yeah, Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
We wanted to talk about this briefly. So a lot of people noticed on Sunday that there was a video circulating of him storming off the field, as well as news circulating about it. Took off his shirt, threw it to the side, threw up a peace fan to the fans, and then peaced out. He just walked into the locker room, and no one really knew where he went after that. But so there was a lot of speculation about what had actually caused him to do that, and most people just had no idea. So, it's certainly one of the craziest things that I've seen in football in my history of watching the NFL. I can't remember seeing anything quite like that, but I know that a player had retired at halftime. I forgot his name. He was on the Bills, and they were losing, getting blown out or whatever, and he said, "Peace out." Yeah, wow. I'm gonna retire at halftime. Wow. Just so funny, but
I've definitely never seen anything like this either. In any sport.
Yeah, in any sport, right?
If what his camp is saying is true, and it was because after the game, Bruce Arians was asked about it, obviously, and he said it didn't have anything to do with his ankle injury, which he was just coming off of, and now Antonio Brown's camp is saying that it did have something to do with his ankle injury, because the whole reason that he stormed off is because he was being told to go in, and he said no multiple times, and then apparently he was let go during that. I don't really understand what happened.
I have some quotes from Ian Rappaport, who shout out Ian Rappaport, one of the great NFL insiders. I have some quotes from him that might give some insight about what happened on Sunday. So,
insights.
NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport had more detail. Also, I'm sorry. This report is from Fox News, so it's the only one that I could find that actually talked about his.
So all of this is most likely false information.
Yeah, but the quotes are definitely true. So I'm not going to read any of the other bits of it, but
funny.
Hang on, I lost it. Okay, here are the quotes, anyways. So NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport had more details about the Brown debacle on Good Morning Football on Monday. He pointed to Brown not feeling like he was healthy enough to be playing. Quote, midway through the game yesterday, Bruce Arians and the offensive staff told Antonio Brown to go into the game. They believed he was healthy, Rappaport said. Antonio Brown did not believe he was healthy. He had been battling an ankle injury for the last several weeks. He did not practice Thursday, did not practice Friday, and I know personally he had some doubts whether or not he would be able to be out there and play. What he told the staff, from what I understand, is he was not going into the game because in his mind he did not feel he was healthy. Let me repeat that one more time. What he told the staff, from what I understand, is he was not going into the game because in his mind he did not feel he was healthy. The response then from the offensive coaches and from Bruce Arians, who's the head coach, was, if you are not going to go into the game when we tell you to go into the game, then you cannot be here. At that point, they threw him off the sidelines and then cut him from the team.
Okay.
So Antonio Brown, which Bruce Arians announced at the post-game press conference, is no longer part of the team. They essentially told him that on the sideline, sent him packing, leaving Antonio Brown with a $1 million incentive right within his reach. He was going to get it. He left all of that, left the field, and is no longer a member of the Buccaneers.
Wow. Well, I hope somebody signs him. Although is that period that the period might be over. I don't know. But that's ridiculous.
Yeah. So if that's from Ian Rappaport. So if if what Ian says is true, then certainly that makes it seem a little bit more like kind of like out of the hands of AB at least. Like
Yeah, that's totally on the coaching staff for forcing a player who's not healthy to go into a football game. That's ridiculous.
yeah, I mean
Like you
that
have
sort of
guys in the
thing.
NBA not taking charges, and you want this man to go while he's injured into a train wreck. Like that's ridiculous. Oh my God. Nice.
And Antonio Brown, someone who maybe as I mean has had his fair like he's dealt with injuries before, especially like concussions, because he has dealt with many concussions. Or like I'm just remembering the nasty hit on against
Yeah,
Perfect laid against him,
I
um,
remember that.
which just floored him. So I mean, he should understand that going out and playing with injuries should is that much
Serious.
more dangerous and
Yeah.
serious. Yeah. Um, and I didn't know about this when I saw this video yesterday.
Yeah.
Um, and immediately everyone's reaction is to say that Antonio Brown is just lost his mind and he's crazy, which
Yeah.
I understand. There's a long list of things that are against him, and
Also, let's just not call the black man crazy.
yeah, I mean, yeah,
Like
I understand.
let's hold our public opinions till we have all the facts and
Yeah,
not
which
call a black man crazy. Like
which that is what is more upsetting about this is we didn't we didn't really have all the facts. We didn't know why he stormed off the field, and already people are making assumptions.
yeah.
Um,
Like
which
that's why I didn't tweet anything about this. Like we don't know all the facts. All we have is Bruce Arians' side of the story. Like we don't have
yeah,
Antonio Brown's. And obviously now that this is different, everybody that tweeted out something dumb is probably going back and deleting it because like obviously it wasn't just Antonio Brown like flipping out on the coaching staff. Like that like I would flip out too. Like if somebody was like getting the game and I have a busted ankle and I could get it even more busted and then I can't play football for the rest of my life and I lose
of
out on
course.
millions of dollars while these coaches can just yell at me and then like, oh well whatever, he got injured. We'll just get another person. Like, cool. Like, oh my God, that's awful.
Yeah, I mean, like ignoring everything else that you know about Antonio Brown. I mean, this is like objectively, if what Rappaport says is true, this is like not his fault,
Yeah.
and he would have been understandably angry to go into a game knowing that the coach had forced him to be there when he wasn't feeling healthy.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. All right. Well, I'm glad we touched on that. Got that. Got those facts. Um, I guess I will talk about the Knickerbockers of New York.
Yeah,
Let's talk. Let's talk Knicks, baby.
Knicks basketball.
Knicks
How's Knicks
ball.
basketball doing? I've been watching too much
Um,
Celtics basketball.
so they're doing bad. Um, they lost to the Raptors. They won against the Timberwolves. Um, but not in a really convincing fashion. It ended up being 96-88. Um, and yeah, you just still have these inconsistencies from the Knicks. Um, where like in the Timberwolves game, they scored 19 points in the second quarter. And then in the fourth quarter, scored 26. Like, not that big of a difference, but they scored 14 points in the fourth quarter against the Pistons and scored 30 points in the third quarter. They lost against the Thunder. They scored 15 points in the fourth quarter, 16 points in the third quarter, 29 points in the second, and 20 in the first. Then in the Raptors, opening the game, scoring 27 points in the first quarter. Then they score 18 in the second, 29 in the third, and 31 in the fourth. It's just like, what are y'all doing? Like, you forget how to play basketball for at least a quarter every game. I don't understand it. Like, it's wild. It's wild. Like, they in the Raptors game, which was the game I watched the most of, and I watched the Timberwolves game, but so they're down by 3. The Raptors score 30, Knicks score 27. All right, it's a game. Then the Raptors score 26 and the Knicks score 18, and they go into the half down like 17, I think. Down 11. They were down 17 at one point in the half. Just some things I wrote in the second quarter. Knicks look bad. That's the first note I put. IQ making bad decisions. Knox gets called for a travel. Knox looked just awful in this game. Knicks still having trouble with the zone. They cannot figure out a zone defense. And then Swiss cheese defense. Swiss cheese. The Raptors dropped 40 on them in the third quarter. The Raptors. Fred VanVleet was lighting them up. Who is good, but he dropped 35. This man dropped 35 on 11 for 17. That's just too efficient. He was 7 for 13 from the three-point line.
Hey, man, shout out Fred VanVleet. That's my guy.
Yeah, he's good, but really the only person on the Raptors starting 5 who had a bad game was Gary Trent, who had 6 fouls in 20 minutes.
He had a bad game?
Points. Yeah, he had a bad game. But you have Fred VanVleet, 35, Scotty Barnes, 13 on 4 for 9 shooting. OG Anunoby, 14 points, 4 for 11. Pascal, 7 for 15 for 20 points. Like, that's ridiculous, dude. They had Deuce starting, which I thought was an interesting decision. He didn't look good. Burks looked pretty good. He was honestly probably the best player. Grimes looked good. He looked really good defensively. He's a really good help defender. Actually, a lot of the Knicks, for the most part, throughout the game, the backcourt did a pretty good job on help defense. But it's just frustrating to watch. I mean, like, everything about them is inconsistent, whether it's offense or defense. They just can't string together 4 solid quarters in a basketball game. And if you're not going to do that, you're just not a good team. Yeah, I mean, they were without Julius for these last 2 games, but I don't know. You're playing the Raptors and the Thunder and the Pistons. They also are out Mitch Robb and Nerlens Noel, so that does change their defensive scheme a little bit. Tibbs definitely relies on the rim protection that they provide, but I don't know. I'm just
know.
Yeah, I'm just depressed, and I really don't know. I'm trying to give analysis, but it's like 1 minute. There he is, the French connection.
The $73 million investment.
It's just like 1 minute, like in this game, RJ, he had like 3 buckets in a row and then went 0 for 4 and like 2 turnovers. Like
Yeah, no, I know exactly how you feel.
they're breaking my mind, dude. I don't really have much else to say. Yeah, I mean, I wish I had more, but they're playing the Pacers tomorrow night at 7:30.
Yep.
So they're probably gonna lose. I don't know. It's just pretty depressing. Like this
They
team's
lost
not
their last
good.
game to the Pacers.
Yeah, like this team's not good. I don't really know what else to say about it. It's just
Mhm.
I don't really understand what's bad about it because these players show that they're good players, but they just, like I said, they just can't string it together. Um, yeah, I mean, have you watched any of the Knicks? Do you have anything you've seen from them?
I have not watched any of the Knicks.
Good.
Yeah,
Don't.
no, but I mean, I should. I should have watched the Knicks. The what I can say though is that you beat that Timberwolves team right after we lost to them.
But not. I didn't. The Timberwolves and the Knicks were kind of. It was kind of right together. Um, like the Knicks never really pulled away in that game. They ended up winning by 7.
So you're
And you
saying
were,
that even though it was an impressive, it was a victory. It wasn't an impressive victory.
yeah. I mean, just because the Celtics lost doesn't mean that the Knicks like should like that. Like the Celtics should not be the base, like the point you're trying to reach. That should
Yeah.
that should not be the team you want to
No,
compare yourself
definitely aim
to.
higher than that.
You know what I mean? Like Julius shot 5 for 20 that game. Like it's just brutal. And
How do
and
you
that's
feel about Julius as of late?
not good. I made a tweet that I feel like every decision that was made in the off season, except for the draft, was the wrong decision.
Mm.
Clearly shouldn't have brought in Ev. Um, I feel bad for saying it, but Kemba, not really. I mean, he was good, but now his knee is sore again. The only thing I can say is that at least he's only getting, I think, 8 million a year. It's not a really too. It's not a bad contract. So that's the only saving grace. And then the Julius extension is just really turning out to look like last year was a fluke, and that's not the player you were signing, and you were
Mm.
most likely signing this player. And I know a lot of people last year were saying, well, not a lot of people, but some people were saying you should trade him while his value was still high. And I didn't think that was the right decision, but looking back on it, clearly was the right decision because now he's signed for, I don't know the exact number, but like 20 million for the next like 4 years. And I just don't know who would want to pay like over $20 million to Julius Randle right now. And then like with that and the Evan Fournier contract, the cap space that they had is now a lot less. And the people, I don't have the free agents this year coming off the books, but I know there were a lot more stars and a lot better players that were available this year than last off season. So if they had just been a bit more patient, which I had wanted from the beginning, but I thought Ev would be a good addition and Kemba and all that. But if they had just waited, then they would have all this money to give to an actual superstar, and then they could just use the young guys that are clearly progressing, like Obi, IQ, Grimes, McBride. They could use them, and as well as the role players that they can surround them with and use that money to sign a superstar. And then that's a good team. But this is a bad team. The Knicks are bad.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah, they're not good. I don't really know how they can fix it because I mean the body language like to end the Raptors game was just atrocious. Like in the fourth quarter, it just looked like they had already given up. And I don't know, not really what you want to see, especially when hustle has been a big problem for them. So it would have been nice to see a little fight in that fourth quarter, but
Mm. Do you feel like there's like do you feel like that's a general feeling amongst the entire team? Or is like they're kind of like taking on this nihilistic view of their team and like their ability to win? Like have they lost that competitive fire?
um no, I think it's just another one of those inconsistent problems because you see that they do close out hard and they play defense hard, but it's on occasion, and then other times it's just no defense at all. So I don't think it's a mindset issue unless maybe it's like mentally locking in and they have a tough time doing that and staying locked in. But um yeah, it's just like I don't understand it because it would be one thing if they weren't closing out hard at all and never played tough defense, but they are. So it's just I don't understand it. If they see the results they're getting with that tough defense, I don't know why they revert back to it, especially when they get like in a slump in a game or whatever. You know, they should revert to what they know works, and that's hustle and grit and outworking the other team, and they just can't do that. It's very depressing. Very depressing.
Yeah.
Um,
And certainly, I mean, the the absence of Julius and Kemba do not help.
they don't help, but I don't know. Is Julius really helping that much anyway? Like, I
Mm,
don't mind seeing Obi in the starting lineup, to be honest. I
mm.
don't know.
Do you think that like Julius last season obviously was incredible, you know, had a an like almost an all-star caliber season, like potentially MVP caliber season.
Yeah, I mean, if you go back and look at the stats, he's either behind Giannis or KD in most of the offensive categories for a power forward last year.
Yeah. He was he was a force last season. And
Yes.
do you think that he's still like taking the majority of the shots for the Knicks, right?
Hmm.
Like he's sort of like playing like he is that force that he was last season, but is just not showing up in the it's not registering.
It's literally like he's the same person, but like doing the same things, but the shots are just not falling. Like there's really like I haven't noticed like a huge difference offensively in his game. It's
Yeah.
literally like these baseline fadeaways and foul line jumpers and like threes are just not falling like they used to, which is just so weird how just all of a sudden like just they don't fall. Like it's
Mhm.
really weird. Like I haven't know. I mean, I'm not like a shot person. I don't know how to break down a shooting motion, so maybe a shot is a little bit different. But you know, they're literally the same player taking the same shots, and they're just not makes this year. I don't get it. That's the thing. I don't understand. I don't understand what's happening.
Right. And yeah, the Knicks like kind of rely on him as their engine to run.
Oh, 100%. Like most of the time, he's bringing the ball up the court. Like he definitely plays the point forward role most of the time. So, you know, and how much of that point guardness in his game, you know, the assists and everything is because he was making shots and getting doubled and and then having open teammates, you know.
Yeah.
Definitely his assists assistability or whatever definitely gets helped by his ability to make shots.
It's weird.
Yep.
Weird season for the
Yep.
Knicks.
But to move on, let's talk about some nice stuff.
Mika, buddy.
Yeah.
Your favorite team?
Oh, yeah, the Rangers. Let's go. So, after that little hiatus from the Christmas break and the COVID postponements, they played the Panthers and then the Lightning twice. So I did not watch the entire Panthers game, but I did see Artemi Panarin put a leash on Aaron Ekblad and walk that man like a dog. That was pretty awesome. If you haven't seen that goal, who is that? Just some Rangers fan?
Yeah.
If you haven't seen that goal, would highly recommend that. Then the it's kind of a back and forth. From the highlights, it seemed that both teams were getting a lot of chances, and the goalies were just playing pretty big. I think each team finished with over 35 shots in the game, I believe. So Libor Hayek has been playing for the Rangers with some defensive injuries to Brian Lindgren, and I believe Nemeth or Lundqvist was hurt before. But Rangers' defensive depth is definitely an issue. Libor Hayek is very, very much not great at hockey. He was out of position in this game, which pretty much directly led to a goal. A Panthers player was just right in front of the net with Hayek, who should have been on him, nowhere near him, falling asleep, buries it off a rebound. Panarin, then he makes a really good defensive play. He is really good at just picking somebody's pocket. He does that at least, a couple times every game, it feels like. Gets a 2-on-0 with Mika. My man buries it, obviously. He's been heating up. I can't remember. He has like 5 points in the last 3 games. And I believe that was a stat set in the most recent Lightning game where he finished with a hat trick. So I think that's like 8 points in the last 3 games. Yeah, man, absolutely heating up. I won't go too deep into the scoring for this game, but Panthers end up having a 3-goal third period and end up winning the game 4-3. The Rangers score with 44 seconds left to make it 4-3. They were down 4-2, but the Panthers close it out. You would like to see the Rangers win a game like that where neither team is playing super tight defensively and they need that goaltender help. You'd like to see them tighten up a little bit more because clearly Igor is the greatest goalie to ever play this game other than Henrik Lundqvist. Then we
First is a first and second. Henrik Lundqvist
no, they're
first.
tied.
They're tied for the greatest to ever play the game.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes. So for the first Lightning game, my first note I wrote is that the Rangers shouldn't have won this game. I tweeted out that I've never seen a goalie try to lose a game like this before. Brian Elliott literally, I'm not exaggerating, gave up 2 goals by passing the puck. Like himself, he's the only reason that these goals happen. And the game finishes 4-3. Easily should have been 3-2 victory for the. Oh wait, no, it goes into shootouts actually. My bad. But yeah, easily should not have gone to overtime or shootouts. Brian Elliott just completely gave up the puck to Alexis Lafreniere and someone else. But yeah, that's basically the Lightning played a very good game. I thought they controlled the game more than the Rangers. The Rangers had a little bit there in the second game, but never really took over. I wrote Hayek is slow, which I also wrote for every other game I've seen him play in. The man is really not great. Keandre Miller had a couple of bad giveaways, which I've noticed is kind of an issue with him, is takeaways and giveaways. He gets the puck taken from him a decent amount of the time. It's not great from a defenseman. Gaudreau had a 2-goal game against his former team. Lightning neutral zone defense and just their defense in general was super tough. Igor being Igor, just beautiful. And then Mika won the game in the shootout for them. This second Lightning game, however, the Lightning definitely were getting goalied in the first period. Igor finishes with a shutout on 38 saves. Mika has a hat trick. Kreider has 3 assists. Just a really good game from the Rangers, but they were definitely giving up a lot of shots. I wouldn't say a lot of the opportunities were scary, but there were definitely a lot of shots. And Igor had to make a lot of saves. New York ends up shooting only 21 shots on goal. So you'd like to see that a little bit more, especially against Vasi. But I just don't like the idea of taking less shots when you have the lead. I don't think you should change the game plan at all. But I didn't really notice that with the Rangers. It didn't really seem like they were playing a super different game. But yeah, I mean, there's not much you can complain about in a 4-0 win. They had Zach Jones and Tim Gettinger, I believe is his name, coming off the taxi squad for a little more depth. Zach Jones was getting just completely bullied on the ice.
What's the taxi squad?
It's for the COVID. So if somebody goes into COVID protocols, you can bring somebody from the taxi squad and not have to send somebody through waivers. Like not have to call somebody up and then send them back down and go through waivers.
Oh,
So they just like stick around with the team basically. I forget how many
taxi, is
people.
that a New York thing?
No, it's just like a name for it.
Oh.
Baseball had the same thing last year. I think hockey did too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But
Not a New York thing.
not a New York thing. Not a New York thing. Could be, but I don't think so. But yeah, Zach Jones, this man does not really look NHL ready physically, although the Lightning are kind of a mean team to put him up in. I think he had played games before this, but he was just not having a fun time out there. Getting cross-checked to the ice, tripped, like just getting bodied in general. So he didn't really look that great, but it's also just, I don't think physically he's super developed. I don't think the physicality is really in his game. There he is, Z-Man.
Physically not really developed.
I thought Gettinger, I didn't really notice him, so that's pretty much all you can ask from a taxi squad guy. Oh yeah. This is a funny note. Igor plays the puck behind the net, goes to leave it for Hayek, but Hayek tries to skate right over him and the puck thinking Igor's gonna pass it with like 7 question marks. Igor has to make a tough save and looks at him like, the F are you doing? This man looked at him like, what are you doing? What are you actually thinking?
So is that that's an Igor mistake?
No, that's a Libor Hayek mistake.
Right,
Libor
okay.
Hayek only makes mistakes.
Yeah.
So my New Year's resolution for the Rangers, I'll give the Knicks one after because I realized I didn't give one, is that I want the front office to make a trade. They need a 7th defenseman because injuries and COVID are prevalent in hockey. Obviously injuries are very prevalent and COVID is ravaging every sports league in the world. And they need either depth scoring or I was thinking a playmaker to play with Mika, but it seems like he is finding that groove and knowing when to shoot and when to pass, and he's looked really good. So I would just say maybe some depth scoring to yes. Maybe some depth scoring, somebody in the bottom 6, because I think those lines have played really well, but they just haven't really been filling up the score sheet. They man, I'm really trying hard not to say but it's so hard.
Yeah, it's
The
a
bottom
common
6,
word.
yeah, the bottom 6 they've done really well, but they just haven't put up points. I like the 4th line. They do a really good job of keeping the puck in the offensive zone. And the 3rd line is fun and a bunch of youngsters and they look good. But yeah, just haven't been able to get the puck in the net as much as you would like. So I would say depth defense and depth scoring is definitely needed for this team. Oh, and the Knicks' New Year's resolution is
Yeah, what about the
to
Knicks?
find some sort of consistency, any sort of consistency, even for like one game. If you could just score over 20 points in every quarter for one game, like that'd be sick.
That goes for the Celtics too. It goes for us too.
Yeah.
But man, I hear you. We just it's a good resolution. Consistency is key.
Yeah, I just yeah, the Knicks have been tough to watch lately. Frustrating.
Frustrating. You find like you turn on the stream and or not the stream, you turn on the game, whatever.
Yeah.
You just a little bit depressed.
Yeah, I wish I was watching the Rangers.
Yeah.
Which I mean, I
It's
may be
sad.
a fair weather fan, but I'm also not somebody who likes to waste my time or have my time be wasted. So I just feel like the Knicks are wasting my time, and I don't like that. You know what I mean? Like I just think
Yeah.
like, man, I'm watching the Knicks right now, but I could be watching Death Note instead.
Death Note fan over here. New Death Note fan.
I love Death Note.
And has
Death
finally
Note.
started the show and
Death
loves it.
Note. Death Note. Chief has 3 ice cream scoops. Chief head honcho.
Chief has 3, others have 2.
Yeah.
Analyze the image on the left, and you will see that the chief, who is at the top right of the image, has 3 ice cream scoops.
Chief.
This is the task force designed to hunt down Kira.
That's Matsuda. He's stupid.
I love Matsuda.
Honestly, paid so little attention to him when he said his name when he got caught by the spoiler alert, spoiler alert,
Spoiler alert, if you haven't watched Death Note,
yeah.
go watch it right now, then come back and unpause the video.
Go watch like 20 episodes of Death Note so you can understand what I'm talking about. But when he gets caught by the Yoshiba group?
Yeah. Yotsuba.
Oh, Yotsuba. And he's like, my name's Taro Matsui. I was like, dog, why are you giving out your real name? That's how little I cared about this man.
You didn't even know that was his fake name.
Didn't even know. I was like, Matsui's so dumb. He's giving out his real name. And then L's like, Matsuda, you idiot. I'm like, oh.
Yeah. It took me a second to realize, or it took me till when L said that to realize actually too.
Who cares about the guy?
I didn't know his name, but I like he's like kind of a like funny character.
He's so stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
If our teams don't make the playoffs, maybe we'll just turn into a Death Note podcast.
All right, so while the NBA and NHL playoffs are going on, let's talk about Death Note.
Or just an anime podcast.
Just anime. Are we done with the episode? Is there anything?
I think
else
so. I mean,
about?
Shoot, what else do we have to talk about? Our teams suck.
Except for the Rangers.
Yeah, except for the Rangers.
Bruins are.
The Pats are okay.
Bruining.
Bruins are mid, I guess.
Bruins are, yeah, that's a good way to describe them. They're mid.
Bruins are mid right now. The Pats, I mean, they have probably the best chance out of my teams to reach the end. You got the Rangers. If they don't make it, we're gonna just give up.
Yeah, then we'll stop this podcast. No,
just kidding. That will never happen.
It will never stop.
Pod till I die.
Till I die.
Only way I stop this pod is if someone writes my name in the Death Note.
And on that note, we're calling it from here, 91 North, 95 South, to you, wherever you are. Thank you for listening. Follow us on Twitter, 91 North, 95 South, Instagram.
Thank you so much. Yep.
91N, 95S, Reddit, Patreon. Go subscribe to our Twitch. Follow our Twitch that we just set up. Subscribe to our gaming channel, which we may or may not have set up by the time of this video. I don't know. If we have, it'll be in the description, and you should click on it and follow it. I mean, subscribe to it. Anyway.
There's probably not going to be any gaming videos on there yet, but
yeah,
they'll be there soon.
Over COVID, we'll be split screening, hitting that split screen. But yeah, I've been Max DeMeza. I will stop being Max DeMeza when we finish recording this. This is Dan Drainville.
Boy, what the heck are you talking about?
I said I've been Max DeMeza, implying that I will no longer be him.
I've been Daniel Drainville. Once this podcast concludes, I will be Derek Jeter.
Thank you.
Catch us next time.